guys, and welcome to another Will It Run video with our Trains with Shane segment on the I Saw It Online YouTube channel. Well, we had a train show going on yesterday and today. My brother and I went, and man, it was cold for Texas. It was only about 30, which isn't bad, but the wind was blowing and the wind chill was 19, and the wind was blowing hard. Made it kind of miserable. He picked up a few things for his Lionel O-gauge layout that he's got. He's going to be converting over to what's it called, Easy Track or Fast Track or something like that. It's a more prototypical looking thing. Looks like Kato Unitrack or Bachmann Easy Track, and it's got the road bed built in and a more prototypical looking rail, you know, a lot like this, although of course three rail O-gauge. I found some stuff, not a lot. Of course, there's one or two things that I wish I would have bought that I didn't. Some guy scored an N-scale layout for 150 bucks, and I didn't see it anywhere, and I walked the whole place. So I don't know where he found that thing, but I wish I would have found it. Either way, here's some of the stuff I did grab. These were all in the same seller's box, and got a couple of old Con-Cor Southern Pacific Daylight passenger cars and an Alco, what is this, a PA1? Yeah, a PA1. I took a look at this and I started thinking to myself, let's see who actually made this thing, you know, before I bought it. You guys that know already know by looking there, but made in Japan. So knowing what we know about Con-Cor stuff that was made in Japan, here's our old E8, is that the drive mechanism was made by Kato, and the body and the shell, who knows, probably Rivarossi like the E8s were, although I don't know, I haven't researched it yet. But this thing had a $20 sticker on it. It fell off, but yeah, 20 bucks. So I wasn't about to pass that up. And weirdly, the cars actually say Kato on the box, in addition to Con-Cor. My other stuff that I had, my Con-Cor Kato stuff, all of that stuff came without boxes, so I've never seen the boxes before. So a little moment of discovery and learning for me. Figured I'd pass that on to you. So the cars aside, I'm not going to worry too much about those for what we're doing here today. What we're interested in is this fellow here. So it's early stuff, you know, it's not real new. Standard 2 driven, 1 bogie on each truck. Both trucks are powered, and I believe both pick up current. We've got our Arnold Rapido styled couplers here. The detailing in the grille is pretty good. Looks like the portals are open. They do not look like they have plastic clear inserts in them. Same with the windshield door frames. We have a headlight here. Simple horn. Your standard 1 big round Alco radiator. Pretty good detail here on the rear. It's a little dusty. Let's see if we can get a zoom in. Oh yeah. See the dust. Yeah, detail's not bad for what it is. Big flanges, but not huge. Our horn. This is pretty common from the era where the front pilot is molded into the front of the truck, so you can see we can get a pretty big angle on that. So let's get this thing over to the Inglenook switching layout, find out what it does and what it doesn't do. I'll see you guys over there. All right, we are over on the little switching layout. Let's turn on some power, pick a direction, dial up the current. 50%, nothing yet. 70-ish, oh, little life, come on. We've got movement. A little noisy. Let's bring her back. Not real bad, but not great. Whoa. Got stuck a little bit there. Full throttle. Moves out pretty good. Let's try to get some slow speed action here. Not fantastic. Not horrible. Well, definitely a little noisy. Right, let's turn that off. So, it runs. I saw the front headlight on as well. There's room for improvement here. So what we'll probably do is we'll move it back over to the disgusting workbench, slightly disassemble it, take the shell off, see if we might be able to sneak some lubrication in there. If I recall, and I'm not sure, some of these old Con-Cor Kato units didn't use a standard worm gear and single shaft like we know on most things today. I think they kind of used a strange little planetary gear at the ends of the shafts. So that might be interesting if that's the case here. So let's get it back over to the disgusting workbench and open her up and see if we can sweeten her up a little bit. All right, back over onto the disgusting workbench with our little foam carrier. Simple to get this off. You just spread apart gently here and the mechanism falls right out without much fuss. Something of a bit of discovery here. Remember our old E8 where that shell was manufactured by Rivarossi? That was not the case with this one. This shell, if I can, having it right side up would probably help as well. Made in Japan. So the shell is also Kato made, which I think is pretty cool. Very early chassis. We'll have to take our 4 screws out here, see if I can gently get our light disconnected here without busting one of these 2 tabs or breaking, because this is a hard wire on the end of this resistor. I don't know if it's a resistor or a diode. I'm not an electronic guy. Directional lighting though, very early form of directional lighting, so very cool. Yeah, let's see if we can get her apart. This type of chassis mechanism always concerns me. You guys notice we've got the old Bachmann U-boat here. Remember when we took this thing apart? It was a nightmare to get back together. Yeah, not looking forward to a repeat of that. Let's see, oh, that's a flathead. That's not what I'm looking for. There we go. Japanese industrial standard, I promise. It's not a Phillips head, if you believe that. All right, how are we going to deal with this? Easiest way is to probably just give this thing a little bit of a bend. Oh, I hate doing this. I hate doing it more for the fact that it's not bending very easily. Slow and steady here, guys. Just have to sneak in there and get that screw loose. That was fortunate. It bounced off of the surface of the table and landed on our little foam pad here. Looks like there's a little washer there. Or is there? No, that's part of the thing. So we're going to get down in here and get these 4 screws loose. Very carefully lift up on this upper chassis. I'm really not liking the way this is feeling. Let's get our little screws out of here. Come on, only get one. There's 2. Get in frame, Shane. Oh, yeah, I'm not... Interesting. Plastic sleeve on that one. Obviously for electrical isolation, and of course we dropped the last one onto the carpet. So I'm gonna go fishing. I'll be right back. Okay, I found it. I'm gonna look down in these holes here. Okay. There is still an isolator left. Looks like on the left side, there's still one in this hole right here. So the ones on the left side of the chassis go with the isolators on them. And then the whole rest of this thing just falls apart. You want to place your bets on whether or not we're going to be able to get this thing back together. Okay. Interesting. Looking a little grody in there. Not bad. That can definitely stand a little bit of a clean. Interesting note, it rolls really, really smooth. So we don't have a lot of friction here. Our metal contact surfaces for our electrical pickup definitely need a little help. So probably just a little clean and a little tidy. Let's check out our split frame here. Pretty neat. I'm gonna move that and its counterpart. Oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Its counterpart still has the light attached to it. That got messed around with a little bit. We'll have to fix all that when we put her back together. Not a huge deal, I hope. The thing about this small gauge wire is that you can get away with bending it once or twice, but you start trying to wiggle it all over the place and it'll snap. It's a little bit grody, not too bad. This is cool. Check this out, guys. There's a little thin plastic isolator here. And more moments of discovery of crusty crappies, but looks like I was sort of right, sort of wrong. There's worm gears that drive the tops of the trucks. But if you look here, here's those planetary gears, like I was talking about. We can gingerly bend up slightly on our motor tabs here and get this out of here. Cool little design. We can probably tidy that up a little bit, but here's our business end here. It's at a little 5-pole, but not skew wound. That would that's why she doesn't have fantastic slow speed. But yeah, let me see if I can get additional light in here. There's our planetary. Very cool. Let's see if I can... Interestingly, this is a lot more straightforward than how Bachmann did the U-boat of terror, electrical isolation. So this isn't that all far removed from what came later from Kato. You see the little bearing blocks that we're familiar with on newer machines. Standard motor with a pole on either end. Interestingly, it won't be hard to figure out which way it goes back in because of the way the tabs are. You don't have to worry about flipping it over and having it 180 degrees out, so when you want it to go forward, it goes backward, because that's no fun. Well, it is if you're operating like an AB with, you guys know. So... operation in there is pretty smooth. I think all we need to do is take this apart, give it a little tidy, and stick it back together. Let's see if I can wiggle the motor up out of here without sending the whole thing across the room. Let's see, it looks like those are at the bottom of these gear cups. I can wiggle up. Should I just turn upside down, smack it all out on my hand, and watch everything go flying? See, I'm holding it up and hitting my hands together to kind of see if I can get a little movement out of this stuff. It does not look like it really wants to come out of there. Honestly, it's in there pretty good, guys. I don't really want to mess with it too much. As you guys are probably aware of, plastics don't typically get stronger with age. So we'll probably just see what we can accomplish with some cotton swabs to clean up the little bit of funkies that are in here. Notice we got some particulates here, either some hair, maybe some static grass. It was wound around the shaft there. That could be contributing to driveline friction. Could be carpet fibers if this thing was ever ran on like some old Code 55 or Code 80 track, just sitting on the carpet. Sorry about this being kind of slow and tedious looking, guys. I'm doing it through the viewfinder of the camera. Well, the LCD screen on an iPhone, either way. Need to go get some supplies. All right, cotton swabs. I'm gonna just give this a little decrusting. It's honestly pretty clean. There's not a whole lot going on here. Our main issues are the trucks or the electrical conductivity transfer pad things around this area here. So the trick is to get this all cleaned up without adding a whole bunch of fibers into the mix. Because, you know, cotton swab, cotton. So yeah, here in the Dallas, Texas area, I only know of the one train show that happens twice a year, and over in Plano, and January, and I think the last time it was here was in October. It's either October or November. Can't really get into all the nooks and crannies with that, but I do have something else that may help us. So a little fuzz in there. Sure enough. Yeah, I can probably get this truck apart, but I don't want to mess with it. Unlike the older trucks or the newer trucks, I don't want to taking all these little screws out and messing with that particular portion of it, unless we have to. This is just kind of a quick and dirty. Ooh, talk about dirty. Just a quick and dirty service here. There might be cause for you to have to tear the trucks down. If you remember our RS3 video from way back, the Seaboard Coastline, the unit that I've had forever. I had to tear those trucks completely down. Because there were problems with the wheels actually transferring current up through there. This is a slightly different setup, so like I said, I'm less familiar with it. Already looking better. Not great yet. Let's see if we can get in here. That's a particularly stubborn little piece of gack. Let me see what I've got up here in my little holder for like hobby brushes. Cool. Check these out. I think you've probably seen these once or twice on the channel before. They're these little micro detail paint sticks. I picked these up at my local hobby store, and I'm not talking like Railroad Hobby or something. I'm talking like a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's or something like that. So you don't have to go to a specialty train store or a hobby store to find these. You can just go to your craft store. And they can get into the little nooks and crannies here where I was unable to get the Q-tip. Much improved. Part of me wants to put a tiny bit of oil, like Labelle or something, on here. Part of me doesn't, because in time that stuff turns funky and creates the buildup like you've seen here. It's a double-edged sword with plastic gears. I don't know. We're going to shove this all back together like it was and see how we get on. So but not before we check out our mating surfaces here. Unfortunately, because they're dark, you can't see if there's any gack in there. Not much. Our pad where the motor leads touch is pretty clean. Here's a little closer look at the electronics for our directional headlight here. Again, pretty cool stuff. All right. Now the fun part, let's see if we can get this thing back together. But not before we put our plastic isolator back in. You guys were going to let me forget that. Were you screaming at me? Don't forget the isolator. There's not a whole bunch of point electrically to cleaning this, because it's non-conductive anyway, but make it a little bit tidier than it was and keep the funk from migrating somewhere else. That lead and pull it just enough to get the tab on here. This may take 7 hands to do. The main trouble is you're fighting against the tension on these motor leads. That should, it doesn't necessarily have to snap into place, but it's more or less in place. All right. Get one screw without an isolator. Get our hole to line up there. Is that it? Yep, there it is. See it drawing down. Just snug it. Snug at? Yeah, snug it. You don't have to pull out the breaker bar. And get our screw with our isolator on it. Go on the port side here. The fireman's side, I guess it would be more appropriately called. Okay, now they've got those two in, and they're still loose. Probably loosen them up a tiny bit more. Flip this thing back over, put it in our cradle, and get our trucks in. You just have to clearance it enough for these little nubs, little dowels that stick out, to get back in their respective holes. Come on, dudes. Well, maybe I have to loosen a little bit more. So you have to get it inside that lip. It would look to be a simple matter of putting it in sideways, but you run into a problem of interfering with this gear, which we don't want to do, because we don't want to damage the teeth on it. Try to spread this as much as we can. If we can ease up on one of these screws a little bit. Give us a little bit more wiggle room here. If that doesn't work, we can always take them both back apart and do it like that, but yeah. Okay, so we're not going to be able to cheat this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my other isolator and screw, and we're going to put that in there. Till we can feel it grab. Okay, tight, and we're going to loosen it back up a little bit. We're going to take our screw out of our starboard side here. Put that there. We're going to remove this one. And the reason we're removing this one is because the other one has our light attached to it. Alright, well, since we weren't able to get away with sneaking that thing in, we're going to have to go in here with our trucks like that. And this is going to require 17 hands to do. Balancing act. And you got to try, this is, watch, this is going to be a fiasco. Try and slide this guy in here. Honestly, that could have been worse. Either that or we got really lucky. Either way, there was no real skill involved in that. It was just blind luck. So we're going to go back in with our screws. Come on. Find the hole. There it is. I'm going to go in with this one. My big thumb in the way. All right. And now that that's attached, we can go ahead and go back in and snug these up. Again, just tight. You don't want to, don't break out the impact driver. Okay, let's deal with our headlight attachment here. We haven't mangled it too badly. Still not great. Hard part is first trying to find the screw that I know I took out of there. There it is. I see guys do this all the time with tweezers and stuff, and they're masters at it, and I'm just a caveman by comparison. Let's see where we're going here. Yeah, not doing well. I really don't want to bend this any more than I already have. Let's get back into frame here. Sorry if I'm blocking your view, guys. Smooth. I am going to move the camera away, and because I got to get up close to get that thing back in. Okay, that's done. It was just a matter of dropping it in and having it land where I needed it to. That looks fine. So, now that it's all back together, we can put our shell back on. And that just slides in there and is held on by the tabs on the side of the square hear those click into place. Pretty. All right, let's get her back over to the switching layout and see if we've met with success here or if we just wasted a few minutes of each other's time. All right, guys, to the switching layout we've gone. Let's turn on track power, pick our direction, dial up current, 25%, 50. Ooh, little stutter. It may need lubrication after all. A little more. Yeah, it looks like it just gets hung up a little bit. Give her a blast back at full power. Race car, as many older machines were. So it runs pretty well. I think it's an improvement. It's definitely a little bit less noisy. I don't know if you guys can pick that up or not. Like I said, I'm a little hesitant of throwing any lubricant in there because I just don't want it to gum up the works with the electrical contacts and stuff, because you can see there was a mess in there, and that was the problem with my old RS3 that I had. I still have, but it's clean and working now. So we are going to end this video here. I want to thank you guys for joining me on another one on a Will It Run? Yes, it will is the answer for that. And hopefully we'll have some more updates coming soon. I got a bunch of turnouts and new track for the big layout, and I will be working on that as soon as my brother gets his disaster out of the way from working on his O-scale layout, so I have room to actually get in and work on mine. So there will be some of that. I have at least one more locomotive that I picked up at the train show that we'll be taking a look at. This one supposedly has DCC and sound. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, stay safe.